know and love come to you like the sound of equipment being thrown from a moving van, the sound of dead cell phones and oil rigs, the sound of empty parking lots and school buses. They love to live and live to love. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesus Children of America, the White Stripes.
Hello. Come on in. Water's great. I sound like an FM radio DJ there for a second. Hello, come on in. The water's great. My name is Ryan Schaap, and this is the hardest podcast to podcast. New songs every week on the ones before traffic and weather. But first, the latest from Greta Van Fleet. How's everybody doing? We are not talking about Greta Van Fleet this week. No knock to them, but that's not what this podcast is about. This is the hardest podcast to podcast. Podcast celebrating the White Stripes' entire catalog, one song at a time. Hope you're all doing great. Shout out to the new folks that are on the block, checking out this show for the first time. It's been a busy week on the internet for for us, so it's been fun interacting with listeners new and old, and just happy everybody's here along for the ride. Really fun conversation this week, back to our traditional format. Previous guest Nate from the band Dead Summer is back, and we're diving into Rag and Bone, which is one of the more memorable songs off Icky Thump, and a return to form in that it is a funny song. Every now and then the White Stripes would show their sense of humor, either off the, in promotional materials or in interviews, or particularly like acceptance speech videos. Every now and then a song of theirs would be lighthearted and a bit of a goof. You had that on Elephant with It's True That We Love One Another, and you got it on Icky Thump with Rag and Bone. So this was a great conversation. I absolutely love talking to Nate. And please go stream his band Dead Summer's music. A couple of singles on your streaming platform of choice. They are a great band, and I look forward to more content, more music, more art coming from them. If you're one of those new kids here, here's the deal. Each week we break down one song at a time. We bring in a guest. We discuss it. We talk about its legacy, its live history, its structure, how it was made, all that fun stuff. And the goal, of course, is to build up an audience, build up a platform that gets the attention of one Jack White himself, and he will come on. We'll coax him on to talk about one of three mystery songs. Yes, the goal of this show is to have Jack White on 3 times. I'm not really looking, I think the last thing he would want is a gossip session or a direct insight into the creative process. I would say that's definitely not what I would be looking for in these dream interviews. I just like to ask rather mundane questions. I remember one time, I remember reading an old interview. Oh, I want to say White Blood Cells or before, and they were talking about touring in the van, and I believe it was Meg that said a lot of AC/DC was played in the van, particularly Power Age or Let There Be Rock. And I'm like, that's all I want to talk about. I want to talk about Jack and Meg and a couple people in the red Econoline van driving around listening to AC/DC playing gigs. So that's what I'll ask him about. I'm not going to ask him about, what deeply personal life event inspired this song, and can you go into extreme detail for me and the Stripes heads listening? That's not what we're looking to do. Also, before this, I hosted a hockey podcast here in Vancouver for a long time, and until I started doing this podcast, my goal was to somehow interview Jack White for the hockey podcast. And there was, oddly enough, like 5 or 6 White Stripes, Jack White, hockey-related questions, or just things I could say to him. So when we get Jack on for the first time, which is a when, not an if, because you got to manifest this stuff. We got it on our vision board. I'll probably ask him the hockey questions because I spent a lot of time thinking about those hockey questions. And maybe he'll like that. Who knows? Who cares? That's just what I feel like doing. Hey, if you want to support this show, there's a couple things you can do. Go to buymeacoffee.com/hardestpodtopod. What was that website URL again? Oh, of course. It was buymeacoffee.com/hardestpodtopod. Okay, can I just say it one more time so we can all hear it? Okay, person in the back. It's buymeacoffee.com/hardestpodtopod. Simply put, if you like what we're doing and want to leave us a tip or help keep the lights on, help pay for the Adobe Creative Suite, or upgrade the mic, or buy a new light, that's how you do it, because we reinvest everything right back into the show. Buymeacoffee.com/hardestpodtopod. Podcasters have been saying this till we are blue in the face, but seriously, go rate and review our show on your streaming platform of choice. Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever. Just go give it 5 stars. Leave a little comment that says, like, this show is good. That way that evil bullshit algorithm will spit us out a little bit higher on the podcast page. You know, it's the end of the year. Maybe I should nominate the show for some like BS awards. Remember, like, people in broadcasting and media, it's just like you just nominate yourself for any awards you might just win, and then you get to be like a podcast, award-winning podcast. So, like, I don't know, no knock to a friend of mine, but their podcast won like an award at the New Jersey Podcast Awards, and they are far, 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 far from New Jersey. So I need to do that. If you know of any like easy awards I could win, and like you pay to get nominated, like $20, that'd be good. We need to be an award-winning podcast, and I could start putting those BS awards on behind me. Yeah, let's do that. Also, we need to get one of those platinum YouTube play buttons. There's like 126 subscribers on YouTube. So if you can, go to youtube.com/hardestpodtopod. Hit follow. Smash the bell, all that stuff. You know how it is. Man, I think I'm done plugging stuff. Yeah, it's just how you can support the show. Or just tell friends. If you know White Stripes fans, if you know Jack White fans, if you know music fans, just tell them about this show. And a lot of people seem to think we're doing a good job. I think I'm doing a good job. And if you do, that's how you can reward us, if you will. At this time, it is time for our call to action. You got to hit pause on this podcast episode, go to your streaming platform of choice, and listen to Rag and Bone off Apple. Listen to Rag and Bone off Icky Thump. Now, this is very important because you'll hear about this later in the episode, but I need you to listen on your streaming platform of choice. One, because that is a way that we make a presence. You hitting pause, going to your streaming platform, going to Apple Music, going to Spotify, whatever, listening to Rag and Bone, it makes that blip get a little bit bigger. And if the fat cats at Third Man start looking at little trends, and they say, why did Slicker Drips get 90 listens all of a sudden today? That's because we did it. So we want that number to get bigger every time. The other reason I am telling you, politely asking, but telling you to listen to it on a streaming platform or on YouTube or wherever, is because there's different versions of this song, and they might have been hiding in plain sight this whole time, and you weren't aware. That's all I'm saying. Because now that you've listened to Rag and Bone, you're going to listen to Nate and I talk about Rag and Bone. Our guest this week performs in the great band Dead Summer, and you can stream their latest single, Melodramatic, everywhere. He's also fresh off his first day working in a record processing plant. He is Nate Prevedoros. Nate, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I'm stoked to be here.
So, I think one of my favorite things, you know, as the latest, the latest, and certainly, you know, someone I've been looking forward to talking to again. You are our latest repeat guest on the show, and the last time you were here, we talked about Bone Broke. Our favorite, we were talking about the lyric, got another job at the liquor store. Damn. Turns out that's what was helping paying the bills along with rock and roll. I reach out to you, and then you tell me that you've just got not a dream job, an ideal part-time gig in between writing and recording music. What are you doing with your life right now?
Well, on top of continuing to play music, I am fresh off my first day pressing records out here on Vancouver Island. This job kind of just fell into my lap randomly through some mutual connections. The guy picked up some presses, some new built record presses that are, funny enough, the same ones they use at Third Man Records, which is pretty neat.
Big deal right there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, that's it. I'm still working at the liquor store. Still got that other job at the liquor store. But yeah.
How quickly until some Dead Summer 7-inch singles find their way into that plant after hours?
Oh, it's gonna be as soon as possible.
That is what I like to hear, brother. Man, we are talking about a fun one this week. It's Rag and Bone off of Icky Thump, which this is your second song off of that album.
It is.
What's the connection to that album? Why does that come? Why does that leap off the page for you?
Like Rag and Bone specifically, or just the album in general?
Well, both, because we've talked about we're talking about two different songs off of Icky Thump now. It's a unique album. It's their final album. It's a return to form, but also is they don't have anything else that really sounds like it.
That's true.
Yeah, what makes you gravitate towards the album and then gravitate towards Rag and Bone?
I mean, the album itself, it's got, I feel like it has every flavor of the White Stripes all in one. Like it is, like last time we did this, when you mentioned it being a return to form, that was the first time I'd heard that, because I was somebody that I didn't get to experience White Stripes albums coming out. It was always, I probably started listening to them, like really listening to them in like 2008, 2009. So, but yeah, I think you get all the flavors of Jack and Meg, and then like some of my favorite guitar work of his is on this album too. You got a lot of really cool guitar tones, and I think Icky Thump is one of those. The album name itself is just so it catches the eye immediately. But
the hell is that?
Yeah, what does that mean? I got to figure that out. But dude, Rag and Bone, this tune it's the most. I remember the first. I don't know if I remember the first time I heard it, but I even now when I listen to it, it's like it's such a weird form of a song. Just they're more acting, I find, in that song than actually singing. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like
they're
putting on such, like they put on these characters in the tone of their voice that are so mischievous, and there's a lot of attitude, and it's I laugh at this song when I listen to it. It's
so funny you bring up acting, because I was listening to it a couple of times today, and I'm like, why is Meg so quiet at the beginning? And then you realize they're acting, because he's like, hey, Meg, come over here. And she like walks towards the mic. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. But it's, the song puts a smile on my face when I listen to it. Musically, it's just fun. And then the little skit and the acting, like you said, it's goofy, and, it's happy-go-lucky, man. It's it's clearly they're acting. This
Yeah.
isn't a representation of them, but in a way it is. It's method acting.
Oh, I could totally see them. I don't know, going door to door in Detroit, asking for Technics turntables and gramophones.
So Jack White had said, we're talking about what kept behind me, Satan. Sorry, we're talking about Icky Thump. And he said, with Satan, I had a piano in the living room and I was writing a lot on that. So a lot of the piano ended up on the album. With Icky Thump, I was coming off a year of touring with the Raconteurs, playing guitar on stage every night and doing guitar improvisations with Brendan Benson. And, basically just playing guitar every night with somebody else and improvising. Like he kind of, fell back in love, but he was drawn to the, electric guitar and just and big riffs and loud solos again. So, that year leading up to it was, with the Raconteurs really kind of shaped this final White Stripes album. Man, I found a couple quotes from a magazine I want to read before we go into the song. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I put out a plea to listeners. I'm like, if you got any old White Stripes magazines, specifically interviews, like all of this is like pre-Facebook, kind of old school internet. You got to go in the Wayback Machine to find a lot of stuff.
Right.
So I said, if you got magazines, take photos of it or scan it. And a listener, Nick Meadows, sent me a huge Google Drive of stuff. And in an interview, he's asked about Rag and Bone. And he goes, to be honest, we put that out on the album at the last second. I was really sort of like, I don't know, man. I just don't know if we can release this because I don't know if people are going to take it in the right way. I'm scared about mixing humor and music. At times I do it, and I always worry about the longevity or timeliness of it because a lot of times people are like, ha ha ha, that's funny. But the next time they hear it, they think, okay, I've already heard that joke. So it's scary territory for a songwriter. You're a songwriter. How do you feel about Jack's comments there? Mixing funny with music.
I think I get where he's coming from. It's definitely like there's a line that you're kind of walking there where I mean you have to do it right. You have to deliver it and set it up properly, which I think in this song they absolutely do. But yeah, if the joke is if it's very specific to a certain, I don't know, year, like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's something interesting, Michael, the drummer in Dead Summer, we talk about it sometimes about like different, even just using different lyrics in songs of
sure.
Like there's something about saying telephone, but saying cell phone, like cell phone really like it immediately, I don't know, depending on maybe on your mindset around it. But for us, we find when we hear somebody sing about a cell phone, it takes us out of it. We're like, wait a minute. But if somebody says telephone, I don't really think twice. I don't know what it is.
I like that. No, because I mean, a cell phone is a telephone, but like we haven't referred to phones as cell phones for like a little while now. So it's like,
right.
Wait a minute. Wait, what is this a song about 15, 20 years ago? What are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. And if it's, I don't know, a phrase like rag and bone, which I'm sure at some point in the show we'll talk about where that phrase comes from. But it's like it's an old enough term where it's people might not know what it means,
Yeah.
Or what it is.
They don't know what it means, and they're also they're not like not to dump on Weird Al, but this isn't a novelty song or a goofy song or a twisted tune or like something like that. Like it is, it's a tongue-in-cheek song about like, caricatures of themselves, like, kind of doing what they probably did in Detroit, which is go and thrift and look for old records and old gizmos and bullshit to build equipment with.
Totally.
So it is I completely agree with Jack, but I also think like this is something that has been funny and entertaining for almost 20 years now. Like we just said, this song still makes you smile. It still gives you a laugh, and you're not like, this is cringe. You're like, no, this is a good little skit, good little performance that, it's not dated. It's not stuck to the times. Like it's an oddly timeless track. I would argue.
Totally. And I also find that going back to them, like how much they are acting in this song, like they sell it so well that it makes it that much easier to buy into it every time.
Totally. The White Stripes are they were a very oddly funny band. They would, news on their website, updates and that kind of thing, or announcements were really tongue in cheek. You still see it with the like the Vault subscription announcements on Third Man. Like there's lots of laughs. Like, they take the music seriously and they take the present, but promoting it as kind of a goof. They've always kind of had fun with that. There's some hilarious award acceptance speeches and videos that were sent in the 2000s when they were at their height. And, every now and then they are just kind of showing their funny bone. And it's when you're good at it, but you don't beat them over the head with it. It's pretty damn solid. And I was thinking about it. Like they are funny they do funny stuff from time to time. And, they did like almost like mockumentaries, like right around White Blood Cells. It's called like the White Stripes pre-tour video where they're kind of playing like, over the top versions of themselves a bit and kind of having fun, taking the piss out of being in a band. So like, it's really evident on this track. And I got to thinking, and I'm like, I think they had not been kind of funny or goofy on an album since Elephant with It's True That We Love One Another.
Right.
Where they're also like being, they're goofing on each other. They're kind of the line of, is this real, how true of themselves are they presenting? And that works too. Like that song makes no sense, but like I just you hear it and you smile.
Yeah I feel like it's one of those I don't know, I heard this the first time, but there's this phenomena of sorts where it's musicians want to be stand-up comedians and stand-up comedians want to be musicians. And I don't know, I feel like Jack must have that sort of bug, because I think one of my favorite, it's not even really an interview because it's not an interview, it's more of a skit. He does it with the Dead Weather, and it's fully like they're like, just like you're saying, they're playing, they play like over the top versions of themselves that don't, and they're Jack is just a jerk in that interview, and it's so funny. But just just they commit to it. If you commit to it, it's gonna be good.
I hadn't thought of it in a while, but when Jack was introducing what would become the Triple Caster, he did a video with when he was touring with the Raconteurs right before COVID, and he was just being an over the top kind of dickhead musician in this video, and it is really funny. And if you're not in on it, you're like, who the hell is this guy?
This guy seems like a jerk. What? I don't want to listen to his music. But if you're in on it, exactly. If you're in on it, you're like, I get it.
I love that. So I was listening to a few versions. I got to tell you, Nate, because I'm a bit older than you. When this album came out, I was about to go to university, so I got a student visa, and I promptly bought a lot of records on eBay. So I have Rag and Bone was one of the first songs that came out off Icky Thump. They released this kind of double gatefold album in NME with Icky Thump as one and Rag and Bone as the other. So I don't know what it costs for me to send a magazine to Canada from the UK with this, but I went and got this Rag and Bone single, and when I first heard it, and I'd heard Icky Thump, and I was fired up because I've said many times, like, give me big Jack White guitar. Give me hooks, give me big Jack White guitar. That's my jam. And then I hear Rag and Bone, which is this like fun, goofy kind of punk rock pogoing type of, every beat with the downstroke or the down strum, and this is exactly what I wanted out of the White Stripes, which is probably why Icky Thump I regard it as my favorite album. And I remember they were so serious and they weren't having any fun on Get Behind Me, Satan. And it was, it felt very, not forced, but it was like we're here to do things seriously. And it was a dark album. It was a tough album. It's an album of, issues with friends and, a scene that's given up on you. So to hear Rag and Bone come out, I'm like, okay, they're happy again. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah. It does. In terms of Icky Thump being a return to form, it does feel like something that they could have done in like 1999,
Mm-hmm.
like it could have been on, like, I don't know, White Blood Cells, and it would have made sense.
Well, and a key thing, for a time, like around White Blood Cells and To Style and Elephant, the whole kind of childlike personas that they had was really ramped up. It was a big part of the pitch of the mystique, and then that kind of took a back seat when the divorce certificate comes out and Jack's getting married and all this stuff. So like this kind of goofy fun little skit harkens back to that. And yeah, it is a return to form, and in goddamn countless ways, because from the guitar and the catchy riff and the drums to fictionalized versions of themselves, like it's happy.
Yeah, like from the get-go they were portraying themselves as these like cartoon characters, essentially. And those are the characters I see when I listen to this tune.
Yeah. I picture animated versions of Jack and Meg. They look the same. They just have small bodies and big heads, like any good cartoon character. And
absolutely, that's good.
Going around, looking for a bunch of old bullshit. So it's funny because there's 3 different versions of this song. Do you know about this?
No. I mean, okay. I know about the one on the demo record, but
so I'll tell you this: there's 3 versions, and there's 2 that I've heard. One is the one you hear on the CD or on your streaming service or on the single here, and that's just Jack and Meg doing their skit. That's fun and great. If you have the album, if you have Get Behind Me or Icky Thump on vinyl, Meg is not on the track, and there's no banter between them during the verses. Like, it's mostly just the rag and bone, come on, and it's weird. It's empty, and it has so much less life. And Jack said in this interview, he's like, we have 3 different versions of that song, and we're going to release them in 3 parts on different 45s. The one that made the album is called the Dusty Dialogue version.
I can't believe this is embarrassing because I own that record. I don't know this.
No, like it didn't click in until many years later, because you know what, like you for the most part you hear all of the meat and potatoes of Rag and Bone, but when you sit and let's say you are like, you know, intently listening, you go, well, what's with all the space?
Yeah, where's
It's
Meg?
here.
Interesting.
Where's Meg? So the dusty dialogue version is on the album. There's the musty monologue version. And then there was just Rag and Bone. But at the last second, I thought, you know, I'm just going to go to put it on there. So there's 3 versions of this song. I know of 2. I got them in front of me. I don't know about the third one or what it would sound like. It might be on. Go ahead.
Which is which? The did you say musty monologue version?
They say dusty dialogue is on the album. So I think he means
that's the one without Meg.
Yeah. But then I actually no, I think musty monologue, because monologue would mean it's just Jack.
Right. Yeah.
So let's assume that musty monologue is on the vinyl.
Right.
Either Rag and Bone or dusty dialogue is on the CD and streaming. Didn't think I'd be saying that so many times today.
Do we know? Has he ever said where whatever the third version is?
I'm going to ask him when we eventually get him on the show for one of those 3 interviews. I'm going to be like, listen, pal, I know we're talking about song X, but we're talking about Rag and Bone. Where's where's Dusty?
Please. Yeah. I got to know now.
Let's also in the album version, the lyrics are different. And they're not as succinct. So I implore you to go listen to your album version after this.
Yeah, I absolutely am.
He talks about collecting baseball bats. He says a microphone and a baseball bat are some of the things that he wants to get. And I was listening to that. I'm like, I didn't know. I didn't remember it being this different. But that's one of the weird things that they would do to make each release that much more special.
Crazy. That's wild. Good for them. That's
let's talk about these lyrics.
Yes.
You already mentioned Technics 10 tables and gramophones or whatever it is. What stands out to you? What Technics turntables to gramophones? What's leaping off the page for you besides that one, of course?
For me, it's here I've got it. Unless I'm actually listening to the song, I can never get this order right. The one that really gets me is when they go lots of homes we ain't been to yet. On the west side, the southwest side, Middle East, rich house, dog house, outhouse, old folks house, house for unwed mothers, halfway homes, catacombs, twilight zones.
Looking for Technics turntables to gramophone.
Yeah, the stuff that leads up to that is I love the overuse of a rhyme in a song.
Oh yeah. And he goes with it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much about this. I mean, the dialogue between them is I mean, that's what gives the song its vibe that it has. But that string of homes we ain't been to yet.
Reminds me of Halloween. Like, we still got to go to the rich neighborhood.
Yeah.
We gotta go. That's where the full-size chocolate bars are.
But it's also saying, like, we don't care where the stuff is. We're going to be there. We're going to go.
They're showing their work ethic.
Yeah, or how insane they are. Either or.
One thing I can remember in a couple of interviews, completely in passing, that forget when they were, but like Jack would kind of get on Meg's case for in real life interviews for essentially having quite the taste for high end fashion, and he in a couple interviews he basically said like, "Oh, all Meg cares about is buying fancy purses or something," and she's like, "Jack, you don't go to New York to buy purses. You go to another fancy ass town." So I love that Meg's is like, I like what I see here. This fits me perfectly. And then she just goes, give it to me.
Oh man. There was another going back to the whole like with like dated lyrics, like saying telephone versus cell phone and stuff. The line, clearly I really like just this this section of the song. It's right after the Technics turntables to gramophones.
Yeah.
There's
take your time.
Take your time and don't rewind. That just that immediately. Kids these days might not get the same kind of nostalgic feeling from that line, but it just reminds me of like, when I was a kid, like either rewinding a tape or rewinding like a VHS after watching a movie.
Yeah, you gotta be nice. You gotta rewind that shit. You don't need the guy at Blockbuster doing that. That's gonna eat up his whole day.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And it's also it makes me think of like the idea again, just playing into them being quirky and these characters being quirky and weird. It's the idea they don't want you to. They want to know where you stopped on that tape or on that VHS. They want to know like where you were when you decided to turn that off. So don't rewind it. We want to know.
I remember when I first heard Rag and Bone and kind of looking back and listening to it, there's a few things that kind of connect this song to some other big songs in their repertoire, where he just kind of says like, "We'll give it a home," and he there's an emphasis on home, and immediately I think of "Let's Build a Home" off the Style. But I also think of the song that they would close the majority of their shows with, Boll Weevil, where he would get the crowd to sing along, I'm looking for a home. So I kind of, this was like the kind of one of the first full circle White Stripes songs. Like they have every song every album has a song with the term little in it or the word little in the title.
Yeah.
This one's just kind of connecting some things to, it's a nod to people that have been around for a while. And I've always really liked that. When I hear him say, "We'll give it a home," like it sucks me in and it's just the emphasis on home.
It feels like he's trying to trick the people into giving him their stuff, because it's like, "Oh, we'll treat it nicely. We'll give it somewhere cozy to live." Yeah,
don't. We got this. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
So this song, I just remember a lot of people really liked this song. When I was going to university at the time, and the album had just come out in June, and on top of, I remember like Icky Thump and Conquest and like Rag and Bone were like the songs that really gravitated with people, and because it's goofy, but it's also like insanely catchy. I listened to the demo version before you hopped on, which you own on vinyl and I don't. And again, you said earlier, this song could have been on any album before this. It could have come out. They could have performed this in Detroit in the late 90s. Like, I feel like I'm bashing Return to Form over over your head talking about Icky Thump, but like, man, it's just they're doing what they like. They're doing what comes natural to them, and they're having a great time doing it.
Yeah, and there's not many like vocally. I mean, they're both doing an incredible job of selling this song and like these characters, but it's it's the signature kind of Jack White thing that I don't think there's really anybody else that does it. The talk singing kind of deal where it's so musical, but there's something, just the way the lyrics are delivered, it's so rhythmic, and that's what makes it so catchy throughout the whole tune.
It feels like the vocals, the guitar, and the drums are all, they're all hitting at the same time, and it's hard to not focus on it. It's hard to not pay attention to it. Like you can do that during the skits, but like during the chorus, like I'd argue this is one of the catchiest White Stripes songs in the catalog because of the structure of it.
Yeah, and like the riff itself is so simple. Like so simple, which the classic White Stripes thing of simplicity is key.
Yeah.
But the riff also just makes me think of like just the way it's kind of hopping along, like them almost tiptoeing down the sidewalk, like sneaking around.
Dude, that is perfect. I also, listening to this type of riff, like, being in bands when you're kind of just dicking around in practice, and it's like, and
it's that kind of riff.
It is, but the way the Jack and Meg magic, that little dust they sprinkle on it, like, I think if another band was playing this song, you'd be like, oh, they're just bored and dicking around, and they're focusing on it. But with them, you're like, oh, this takes me somewhere.
Yeah, they take jam in A into a whole new place. A whole new place.
Jack had another quote about this song I want to say. Sometimes a song like that gets made that's so off the beaten path that everybody who's around or stops by, or even the engineer, starts to formulate an opinion, and it causes a stir. You don't know if you got something amazing or something bad, because you get to the point where you're like, well, if we're talking about it this much, it can't be good. It should just hit you like that. Still, right at the moment of putting out the album, we didn't really know. It was like my eyes were closed. I was just putting it out there. But immediately people were finding it really interesting. So I'm glad I included it. I don't know about you. I'm happy that he trusted his gut, because
me too.
I mean, dude, you're, in your various creative roles, does that resonate with you? Like, we're focusing on this too much, like music and art should come easy, and if we're focusing on it, it's not good, or it's not right, or it doesn't fit what we're doing.
I mean, I think it's such a like case by case kind of thing. Like I do think that sometimes a song needs the work to be put in, but at the same time, sometimes it's about like working on it, and when you hit a wall, you got to step away from it.
Yeah,
come back to it later. But there is something about the stuff that just works. Like there's a reason for that, and usually that there's like this creative spark behind it too, that it comes together because the magic was there in the moment,
I think there was magic in this moment, and as I decipher his like 3 lines of text here about describing it, I'm like, I don't think that they were overthinking the song itself. I think that they were overthinking of like, how does this fit into, like, they were big braining it in terms of how does this live next to the other songs on Icky Thump, and how will people interpret it? They're not they got in their own way, and they're not like, this is funny, this is catchy, this is good. They were. I just think that they were big braining it, which I don't know if that was ever really a thing with the White Stripes and the way they put together music, but
they didn't think about. Yeah, it seems very very un-Jack White to think about what other people are going to think of it,
Dude, that's so true.
He seems like the kind of guy who's like, no, this is what I want to do, so I'm gonna do it. And I think that is usually the answer is, if you like it, you should I don't know. Speaking to all the artists out there, if you
Well,
like it, that's what's going to resonate with other people. Because if you don't, that's the other thing. If you don't believe it, then are other people
it's
going to
funny
believe it?
you bring that up because White Stripes were inducted into the Hall of Fame recently. Olivia Rodrigo performed with Feist, and she's a huge Jack White stan. Olivia, please come on Hardest Podcast to Podcast. We'll bump Nate's third appearance for you. But she profiled kind of like, she was very open about like how much she loved the White Stripes and Jack White. And when she met him at Third Man Records, I think around 2022, maybe 2023, the advice that he gave her was just make the music that you want to hear on the radio. And I'm like, well, yeah, because then it's true to you. It's going to mean something. You're not trying to make what is a trend. You're not trying to make some, sane anger. You're making what I want and what I want. There's something special about what I want, and I'm going to share it with you, man. It's so true.
To that point of make the music that you want to hear on the radio. If you make music because if you make a song that you think other people are going to want to hear, I think people are very smart, whether they know it or not. But they can tell when you're not doing something that is like fully genuine. Like I feel like I can sometimes I feel like I can tell when, like, if I hear an artist, like sometimes I can be like, you know what, generally speaking, I feel like I should like this song, but there's something about it. And usually to me, it feels like maybe it's not, maybe I feel like I'm being pandered to almost.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Man, let's talk about some reviews here with dive into the song's legacy. Pitchfork oddly liked the album. They gave it an 8. They said Rag and Bone with its spoken word verses is practically a thesis statement for a band that loves to write songs about itself. Casting Jack and Mick as junk collectors with a way creepy relationship, prone to amphetamine rambles and big chunky rock courses. I believe the picture we painted, the story that we created in our minds, a little more G-rated and didn't have them on amphetamines.
Yeah, no kidding.
Rolling Stone gave the album a 3.5 out of 5. They praised Rag and Bone and the very quick lyrics that we've talked about a few times. And describing what they want to do in the lyrics. They go, that's always been Jack's MO, and album to album, one every 2 years since White Blood Cells in 2001. He's hauled new Detrius to his theoretical garage. And Spin, they gave it a 3 out of 5, but they say this. Jack flicks out a handful of tunes, Catch Hell Blues and Rag and Bone, that he could have written while slumbering away on his color-coordinated pillow. They go on to say Icky Thump is full of such bracing, finger-wagging admonitions. Unfortunately, too many of the songs feel like sermons rather than hymns. So Spin did not...
They're saying that as a critique if they don't like that?
I believe so. I guess they were giving them too many pieces of life lessons.
Interesting.
And Enemy gave the album a 9 out of 10, and they quite liked Rag and Bone. And he said, I say Rag and Bone is the best of that none too shabby bunch. A darkly comical, I say comical, but I wouldn't be laughing if I came home one day to find Jack White raking Papa Lazarou like through my rubbish while his impish klepto X had her grubby mitts all over my toilet seat.
I might be, I don't know if I'm going to sound ignorant when I say this, but did he say Papa Lazarou?
Yeah, Papa Lazarou, and I'm going to Google that right now. A fictional character from the League of Gentlemen.
Oh,
On the BBC, and looks like a bit of a bandit. Got a black mask on, and enemy is a British. That's a
I was
that's a
gonna
that's
say,
a that's an English rag. I don't know what the hell they're talking about over
and
there.
this
You know
this
how
song,
it is.
song has a lot of British roots. So
Well, hey, when you're right, you're right. They didn't have a music video for this, but much like your last appearance with Bone Broke, we have already written it in our minds.
yeah,
Uh, if there was
it's surprising because the music video would practically write itself. But
goddamn right.
maybe that's all the more reason to not have a music video. Just let people picture it.
Totally. And this song was only performed 7 times in the White Stripes' existence, and which makes sense because they basically toured for 2 solid months behind Icky Thump with the Cross Canada tour, some UK and European festival dates, and then a big arena tour in the States before they called it quits. Not called it quits. They called off the tour. But it was first played in Italy on June 7th, 2007. It was played at Bonnaroo. I don't know if you have heard about this, but for Icky Thump, the White Stripes signed a 1 album deal with Warner, and they got quite the hype machine behind them. To the point where Warner Brothers took the old Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard and they turned it into Icky Thump Records.
Right. Yes.
And you could go it was like that for a week or something. And the White Stripes played an in-store, and it was 2007. So live streaming technology actually worked. And I can remember like watching this thing live and being like, holy, like they're back. They're rocking. And they played Rag and Bone at Icky Thump Records. And then the last time they played it for their 10th anniversary show. And the last time they played it was in Boston on July 23rd, 2007. So based on our discussion, a pretty timeless track that I don't know about you, but if this song came out on White Blood Cells or Elephant, I think it would become a live staple that they would go back to throughout the night. Like, I think I smell a rat or Screwdriver. Do you think this song would have a much different legacy if it was, on the 3rd album and not the last album?
Yeah, I mean, the only versions of this song that I was able to, because I was looking into it, because I kind of thought to myself, I'd never like seen or heard a live version of this tune. And the only ones I can find out there right now, there's not really any vocals. It's just they just
a riff.
Which part of me kind of wondered, because considering it's so late in their career and like it's kind of in the time where Meg obviously wasn't really wanting to, like the anxiety was getting to be too much. Like I do wonder that if it was put out earlier in their career, if it would have been something that they had that banter back and forth on stage. That seems right up their alley in terms of, especially considering there's so many different versions of the song, as I've just learned today. I mean, if I were to kind of imagine and maybe fantasize about it a little bit, it would be, I could imagine that they would have, I don't know, done it differently every time they did it,
Well, and that's their MO. Like, and reading my interview, my magazine scans today, like, Jack wanted the song to be performed slightly differently or vastly differently every night. And, there was, I think that speculating here if Meg had if Jack was going to make Meg sing in the cold cold night alone in the spotlight at the front of the stage, or ask her to pull the mic around and do the banter for Rag and Bone. Like, I think the Rag and Bone banter of her, maybe making fun of Jack a little bit would have
that would have been the choice.
Yeah, a bit more of a regular appearance at Stripes gigs if that was the circumstances, man.
Yeah, that's oh man, that's an alternate timeline that I would love to to witness one day.
Yeah, and the there was already about 1,000 pounds of 1,000 pounds of what ifs scooped onto the White Stripes legacy, and then given the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, there's now like 3 times as many what ifs on this legacy, which just makes, I don't know, it just makes everything, nothing was wrapped up or solved or finalized. So it's just, we'll spend, as long as they're breathing air, you're gonna think what if. And
yeah,
as much as I love that, I absolutely hate that, but I also love it. Nate, we've spent upwards of 50 minutes talking about one goofy track off of Icky Thump. You have a few versions to listen to.
I do.
But I like to always wrap up these conversations with the same kind of question. The next time you listen to Icky Thump, whether it's the weird one or the musty or the dusty, what's gonna go through your head?
I mean, yeah, depending on the version that I listen to next, whatever one I can get my hands on first. I think I'm gonna be. I'll probably be thinking about like what that live version could have been like. So I imagine it'd be an amalgamation of all 3 different versions that are out there.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious to hear the different versions and like what lyrics got dropped, what got put in the different places, and how much how much is different. And but yeah, dude, I've listened to this song so many times because it is one of my favorites. And yeah, I mean, I'll be imagining the different music video, the alternate music video to go with the alternate version of the tune. What was it? You said microphones and baseball bats? Was that what it was?
Yeah, that's when you took the words out of my mouth. We're like, this song now becomes like, they've created a skit, they've created a fantasy, and now when I listen to this song, I'm thinking, if a song came out in 2001, what's the life that it would take? What type of live staple would this become? But next time I listen to this song, I'm going to marvel at how, in plain sight, a different version of the song just sat there for, it's 25 for 18 years. It's like, I've had this album, I bought it at the concert in Deer Lake, and I'm like, oh, right, there's a completely different version of the song on here, and I never clued into it because that's the magical little whimsical wonders that the White Stripes did and will always seem to do.
Truly. I think there's always going to be something undiscovered about this band.
Dude, there's still undiscovered Easter eggs on the live DVD they put out in 2004. They will, much like Jack putting the records and the poetry in the furniture with Third Man Upholstery. I think that these little mysteries and Easter eggs are going to be discovered, if they are, till the end of time, man, because that's what a special group of artists do. Okay, that was Nate. That was Ryan and Nate talking about Rag and Bone. And now you know why I told you to listen to the streaming version, because there's multiple versions out there. Apparently there's 3. I only know of 2. If you haven't yet, if you're polite and waited for the episode to end, you've gone and listened to your Icky Thump album, on vinyl. I got mine at the concert in Deer Lake Park, the first gig of the Cross Canada tour. Brought an extra garbage bag to put all my merch in because it rained like a motherfucker that day. We'll be back next week with a very good song. Want a little hint? Here's a hint. It's the last song on an album. The Hardest Podcast to Podcast is hosted and produced by Ryan Schaap. Artwork by Catlin Likely. Amanda Schultz is our assistant editorial producer. And Mike Noble is our gator.